Yeah, home screen UI is really busy. There are a lot of things, and they're not, as you're going through them, not all of the various features are explained beyond like, hey, come check this out. Now that can work okay because you kind of are like, oh, I'm gonna go play it and kind of poke around and figure it out. But there's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff, and that can mean a lot of like accidentally hitting the wrong thing.
Can you, okay. Can you go back and talk about the language again?
Yeah, it's gibberish half the time. And the other half the time, I only understand it because, I know the gamer jargon. Like, when Sentinel is jungling, a Luna arrow hits Dragon Girl, a war is on the edge. That means nothing. And that's literally the first text that you see in the game. Literally, this is the first screen after, like, the loading screen.
Mm-hmm.
And the capitalization it's disruptive. It's disruptive to English speakers. Super in need of editing. There's no real plot that compels or explains the player's actions. You're kind of just moving along and killing things because that's what you do in a game like this. That's pretty much the only reason. You're not given a reason. Buried Town, I loved it. It's gorgeous. It's really incredibly well designed art-wise, with the UI. The gameplay is easy because it is a lot of clicking, and the zombies are great, very compelling. I love survival. Combat's pretty boring. You don't talk much with the people. There's a lot that they don't tell you, and there's no background music. So like, just the way that everything looks is great. Pretty much everything in the game is constantly reminding you that, hey, you're 5 minutes away from starving to death. And that's possibly literal, actually. Like, you could literally starve within 5 minutes. And everything, like just the way it looks is just very black and white and gray and dark. And
I wonder who is Cici Liu.
I can Google that later. The gameplay is pretty simple. There's not, there's no aiming, there's no pointing, it's not skill-based. Everything is based on the choices that you make and how fast you can make them. The timer does go fast. The time does go pretty fast, so it might, that puts a fair amount of pressure on the gamer, and that might turn people off, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not a particularly easy game, especially in the beginning, the first time you're doing it. The combat, it's just this. It just scrolls up, and especially when you get more than 3 or more zombies, it goes very fast and it's very hard to follow, to the point where auto combat might be a good thing. Basically, you either have some sort of auto combat or make it a bit more interactive. Because it's just this awkward place where it's like, I can't quite follow what's happening, I can't quite control what's happening, but I like knowing that these specific things are happening, personally. I like seeing that. I just wish it wasn't quite that fast. But also time is a huge resource in this game, so speed is the thing. Yeah, there's no background music, which in a zombie game that has this amazing kind of graphic design, it's weird that it doesn't have a complimentary creepy background music that's reminding you, hey, there are a bunch of zombies everywhere. Try not to die. Try not to starve to death. You don't have any contact with other people, other actual people, other players, except to say, hey, look, guys, I survived 2 weeks. Beat that. But you do have some contact with NPCs as neighbors who you kind of trade with. And, that's pretty flat. It's pretty boring. There are a lot of things that aren't explained that you kind of figure out by failing at, I found. So
that means it's about click or explanation, right?
Yeah, kind of. There's that, and there's also just other things, especially later on when you're upgrading your house. I didn't know that coffee is pretty much the only thing that brightens your mood. That's the only thing that I found. I was like, why am I in such a bad mood? I can't figure out why I'm in such a bad mood. And there's certain things later on where it's like, oh, why I've just got a bunch of potatoes that I can't eat. without getting sick. It's like, oh, I need to have the stove as well. And I feel like that can be made with like with a more extensive guide, not necessarily the tutorial, but an actual guide that explains a lot of the features, and how to go about it, with recommendations and that sort of thing. You've got a lot of things in the UI. You've got the season and how that affects the zombies actually. So like autumn, in the cold, the zombies are touchier. They're more bound to attack you. It's got the temperature and how that affects your health. Like right now, because it's cloudy, I'm in a worse mood. Because it's cold, I'm more likely to get a cold. Because it's autumn, the zombies. So that's awesome. I love all that stuff. And you can click on it or tap on it and hold it to get a description. But yeah, pretty much every single thing in the game reminds you that you're 5 minutes away from dying, which I think is very compelling. It also does put a lot of pressure on the player, and that might chase off casual people.
What's your take on the paragraphs? Do you think it's a bit too long?
No.
It's the right amount of
Yeah,
information?
this is 2 sentences.
Okay. It's okay?
I think this is fine.
Do you actually read everything?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course, you're asking
I do.
Tegan.
Actually, that's not true. I don't always read everything. However, in this one, where I found that that flavor text helps me immerse myself. Like, when I read about the gas station that has all the cars that are parked so close together, they can't move anymore, but they're all broken down. Like, that just, every part of this reminds you that you are in a zombie apocalypse and everything sucks.
Yeah, it's very descriptive.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's only got 2 sentences. Like,
Yeah.
none of the descriptions are more than 2 sentences, because it's a small screen. They've done okay. And I did play the farming one somehow. And my pros, one of my pros is the fact that it's incredibly easy to learn, as showcased by the fact that me, someone who does not read Chinese, figured it out.
Nice.
It's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really is. It's adorable, and it's very much like Farmville, but it doesn't have that, like...
Have you played any other farm games?
I've played Farmville.
For how long?
Played it for a couple months when it first came out.
Okay.
Shh, don't judge me. I was homeschooled. I had nothing better to do. But no, I like the art style. It's appealing, and it doesn't have that like abrasive cartoonishness of Farmville that everyone automatically thinks of when they think social farm games. It is very easy to learn. The tutorial, I followed it.
You learned Chinese. Actually, you knew
I
it.
learned Chinese by playing
We should be careful talking in Chinese next time.
No, it does encourage interaction with other people, especially through storefronts that you can. I hadn't gotten to this part, but I read ahead. Just because you can set your own prices, and then other people can buy from you, and that's cool. So it's an economics lesson right there. This is very much a casual game. This is not something that anyone who would describe themselves as hardcore, I think, be interested in. It's just not. It's farming. It's what it is. However, considering how wildly successful Farmville is, that doesn't really matter too much, because a lot of people would absolutely be interested in this because it's adorable. It is adorable. Some of the art is a little weird.
I mean, like the old uncle dude?
Yeah, like look at those vacant staring eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, it's a little weird. It's just a little unsettling.
So basically, the characters are not that great, right? The scenes are
Like the
okay.
3D ones. The 2D art's fine. And it does take a while for it to start up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every time you load it up, it does take a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Because this doesn't seem like the kind of game that you'd sit down and play for extended periods of time. It seems like something that you'd come back to. And having to wait each time is a little... And there's some IP stuff. Like, this is Ariel, this is Belle, this is Eric. This guy is familiar to me. This is the dude who plays chess with himself in his in a couple different things.
I wonder if they have the IP.
I don't doubt
I
it.
don't think. And it's not even important.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got.
Okay, cool. Thank you.